Guys, this time around today I am coming with so much drama, but before we go into all that, welcome to the BBNaija reunion highlights given to you by every NG, and my name is the Coco of the Oro, because guys, this episode was something. I will tell you, it was, I don't want to say hilarious, because I don't think it was hilarious at all, but it was something. Because first of all, we addressed the issue with Prince, and maybe they tried to bring in Eric, and they didn't touch Kidwire but Brighto a bit. So according to Wathoni, she was just a matchmaker. That was what she said. She was like, oh, she was just coupling people up and making sure that people were in relationships, that all the people she liked were just for cruise. I don't know, because that wasn't the impression we got from the house. So of course people were like, are you sure? Are you really sure that that was what it was? Anyway, that was what she said. She said she told Prince that, oh, deep, like she didn't want to have anything to do with him in the house. At least maybe outside they would have pursued. Dara was like, so if Prince picked you over Tolanibaj, would you say the same thing? She's like, oh yeah, I'll say the same thing. I'm like, sis, I'm not sure that you say the same thing. Anyway, Dora said that she didn't believe Wathoni was catching cruise. You know, it was just maybe she liked him and he didn't reciprocate the feelings, so she just backed. Also said that she didn't know about Tolanibaj and Prince at the time. So the thing is, she knew that Tolanibaj had eyes on Prince and Prince was reciprocating, was giving back vibes, but she did not know that they were like officially a thing in the house. So she said that, and then Dorathy, Tolanibaj also said that she didn't know about Dorathy and Prince, which is easy to understand, because it wasn't even until last episode that people knew that, you know, that people knew that Dorathy had feelings for Prince. Everybody always felt, you know, they are friends, they are guys, stuff like that. So yeah, that was it. Now this Tolanibaj and Prince situation, guys, I don't know. From the house, we could already tell it was messy. Do you understand? We could already tell that this was a messy situation, is a no-go. We cannot explore this relationship. But they kept trying to patch things and make things work. Now reunion has come, everything has scattered. All the secrets in the public place. Because, you know, Eric, I beg your pardon, Tolanibaj was saying that she kept telling Prince, and this one we can actually bear witness to it because we watched it. She kept telling Prince that you cannot pick me as second choice. I'm not a second choice. And Ebuka asked her, okay, why were you saying that? So like, oh, because she felt that Prince was with her because Nengi rejected him. And then I'm like, but nobody tied you now. Maybe if you felt like you were second choice, you would have just walked out of the situation, as opposed to stressing yourself, always asking him to be nice to you, always asking him to do this, do that. But she said that she kept on telling Prince that she'll never be second choice, you know, and Prince was insisting that the relationship must work. That was why she even gave it the light of day. That was why she was like, okay, let me try and see if this thing is going to work. So Prince was the one who was actually insisting that the relationship works, that it wasn't even her idea. I'm like, voila. So we're getting different vibes, what is happening in the house and what is happening outside. But anyway, while we were going back and forth, Prince was saying stuff about her being desperate because Vee and Neo were dragged into that situation. We'll talk about that one later. Now Tolanibaj stood up, did a whole 360, told Prince that she was not desperate, she does not have issues attracting men. She does not have, like, she has men on her palm. That was literally what she was like, I have men here. And like, voila. If you don't have men here, what are you doing with your life? So she said that, and then she sat down. You know, Tolanibaj doing the whole, I'm a bad bee, I'm a boss lady, I'm a strong independent woman. I'm like, okay sis, we get you. Alright, so after that situation, Prince was kind of left. So the thing with Prince is showing, because a lot of people have noticed this as well, Prince is showing a different side to him, like a side that so many people did not know, so many people, did not see, or maybe were not observant enough to notice. And I'll let you guess, not guess, if you're watching the reunion, then you probably have an idea of what I'm talking about. So drop that in the comment section. Let me know if we're on the same page, if we're syncing, if our minds are in sync. So Prince said what he said, and then he was like, okay, cool, like whatever, like you were the one that was stressing me. You're saying that I wanted the relationship to work, but you were not even putting anything. So Wathoni also said that she didn't really care about Prince. I'm like, so here's the thing, guys, let me tell you something. So Ebuka has no time for lies. He has no time for lies, because he literally brought up the Wathoni conversation. Now this picture that I'm showing you here, he was like, okay, this was the first thing. This was when Wathoni was telling Prince that, okay, so what exactly are you doing? Who are you picking? I don't like the fact that Nengi is not talking to me, Tolanibaj is not talking to me because of you. And Wathoni actually owned up and said she said this, and there was some sort of friction between the three girls because of Prince. And I really appreciate, now that I look at it in retrospect, I really appreciate the fact that she went ahead to tell Prince, guy, do your choosing. Like, she wasn't dilly-dallying and saying, oh, let me pretend. Like, she said, do your, the thing that the discrepancy between what was shown on screen and what Wathoni was presenting at the reunion is the fact that she said she did not care about Prince. I'm like, 2 plus 2 is not 4 here. I think you did, but you were able to eject yourself from the situation before it got too messy. I think she would have easily put it that way without coming off as though, you know, she was. I feel like everybody was trying liking somebody that didn't like you back, being with someone that didn't want to be with you. I'm like, you guys should chill, okay? Calm down. Tolanibaj, that it felt like he was using her to catch cruise. He was using her just for the game. I wasn't using you for the game. I was literally like, I literally liked you. It's not a thing of, but you were stressing me. Yeah. That she was always trying to isolate him, if that makes sense. I don't really like, you know how Tolanibaj was always complaining that, oh, Prince didn't want to be with her, Prince didn't like her as much, and she felt it. But Prince on his end was like, okay, so I like to have certain conversations that you might not be interested in, things about space, about sports, about automobiles, and I have these conversations with Neo, with Lekon, with Tricky, and if I ask you to come into that situation, you might not really want to, but will spend all your time with me, all the spare time when you're not running around and doing tasks. But like, you're trying to make me spend all this time with you, but you don't really have so much to offer me when it comes to conversation and things that we like similar interests. So he said that, and I was like, I also went ahead to say, well, it's true, we didn't have anything to discuss, and even cited that she felt like Prince and Dorathy had way better a relationship than she had with Prince. And I'm like, at least you saw that one, right? Because we saw it too. So yeah, she said that, and then Prince was like, okay, so you claim you like me, you claim that you wanted me, you claim that you're a good person, but you try to use your you had eyes or something like that, you had eyes on your friend's man. I'm like, we have opened the can of worms. We have really gone there. So Prince said that he felt some type of way after that Tolanibaj and Vee and New thing happened. That was where the main wahala started. So after he said that, Tolanibaj was like, bro, and you could tell, because I'm showing a picture now, you can tell that, look at it here, you can tell from the look on her face, like, what are you saying, bro? What are sorry about that. She was basically like, what exactly are you saying? You can't just up and tell me that I was trying to. So okay, basically what she was saying is she liked Prince, she didn't like Neo, but she was trying to make Neo jealous with Prince, and at that point she lost me. But not without saying some really hurtful things. And I feel like all through, like, the this is the second actual episode. This is the third episode, but like this is the second episode that we're having like conversations. And I feel like everybody has been throwing jabs at Prince, like, oh, you're not man enough, King Kong doesn't have to beat his chest. I'm like, okay, Prince, what exactly are you doing to these people? What is going on here? So people were throwing jabs at Prince, people were saying what they were saying. And you know, when Prince brought up that Vee and Neo thing, Tolanibaj was like, well, you're not man enough, because if you were man enough, I wouldn't have to try to make you jealous with somebody else. I'm like, wow. Now, it was at this point that Ebuka introduced Vee. And I know that a lot of us have been waiting for this altercation. Let me not call it an altercation, because I don't like violence, but it was bound to happen. So a lot of us have been waiting for this, and you know, Ebuka just randomly threw a question to Vee. I was like, oh, what do you think on this? How do you feel about that situation? And I really applaud Vee, because she was maintaining her calm. She was literally maintaining her calm for the longest time. She was like, okay, so I find that I consider this person my friend. I had nothing bad to say about her. I was even advising her, because she mentioned that she advised Vee to leave Prince because she didn't feel like Prince liked Tolanibaj enough. Vee was saying that she advised Tolanibaj to leave Prince because she didn't feel like he liked her enough, and that he was already in a messy situation. Like, this was going into an octagon or something. It was too much. It was basically too much. So Vee was like, as a friend at the time that she thought she was to Tolanibaj, she advised her to leave the situation. Now, Tolani, on the other hand, was obviously triggered. I don't know what it is that got her so upset, but she kept on standing up and saying, oh, I'm a bad bee, I'm a boss lady, you can't talk to me anyhow, you can't do this, you can't do that. There was even this point that she stood up, like I'm showing here. There was even this point that she stood up and she was like, oh, I'm bad, I'm a bad girl, blah, blah, blah. You can't talk to me anyhow, we are not mates. I'm like, I don't know how your relationship with Vee evolved, because if you notice very well, in the house, if you remember, they were like 5 and 6, at least until the point where Ebuka brought up the Neo situation. They were like 5 and 6, and Tolani was obviously triggered. She didn't even let Vee talk. She was like, yeah, and then she was swearing. I was like, sis, you're obviously triggered, you don't have anything to say. Yeah, you might have been angry about something, but I think it's better you calm down and articulate yourself instead of going on and not making any points. You're just going around in circles. So she did that, and it was upsetting for a lot of people. Even Chiki was like, Tolani, calm down. Neo was like, calm down. Everybody was like, calm down. Now when Neo put his mouth inside, Tolani just was cut him. She was like, yes, you're my scapegoat today, because she went into talking about how Neo was the one that was feeling her in the first place, according to what Erica told her. Now, Erica wasn't there, so we couldn't really hear from Erica's side, but you know, she was like, Neo said he was feeling me, and I was just trying to make Prince jealous with Neo. I don't find him sexually attractive. And then at this point, everybody was like, huh? Because yeah, you can make people jealous. People play those games in love and stuff, but you going ahead to do it with your friend's man is where there's a problem. You going ahead to do it with your friend's man is a bit problematic, because there are so many other guys in the house. You could have used Kidwaya that you thought was your brother. And then Vee also said something really important. She was like, when Erica told you what she told you and you said, oh, me too, I was feeling new, she was like, yo, that means you can do something like this to me. And then Kid was and Tolanibaj was like, oh no, Kid is like a brother to me and stuff like that. I'm like, so this person that you considered your friend and sister, as you guys tagged yourself in the house, you didn't think it was a great disservice for you to do something like that to her? Stuff is not adding up. But anyway, so that's how both of them, Vee and Tolanibaj, were going back and forth there. And then Tolanibaj mentioned that she's in a healthy relationship with a 6'5" guy that is exposed, that travels, that spends on her. I'm like, okay, let's move on from that. So yeah, after that situation panned out, Vee, like I said, they were going back and forth. Now Vee now mentioned that, which relationship, you that you're a Ron's girl. Like, why are we going this far? Why are we going this far? Because, you know, Tolanibaj Twitter triggered her when she said she had Twitter fingers and she did not have the liver to say anything to anybody's face, that she was always throwing shade on Twitter. Now, when Vee said, oh, you're a runs babe, you're Tolanibaj retorted and said, you think we don't know your gist in Peckham, that you're having transactional sex and exchanging sex for... I'm just like... And then she mentioned stuff about giving blowjobs, and I was like, how did we get here? How did we get here? Now, when that happened, now, Neo was trying to form defender of the oppressed. You can't talk to my babe like that. Tolanibaj said, shut up, my dear. You were feeling me, because where did that question of do you like PDA come out all of a sudden? And then she just kind of recounted everything that happened and said, so you out of the blues that day, you just asked me if I like PDA. Obviously, you were feeling something for me. That's how both of them started going back and forth about, I'm not feeling you, you're feeling me, you're not that attractive. No. I'm just like, Vee, I feel you, because I feel like this conversation is giving you a headache. Now, Tolanibaj and Neo were going back and forth, and Tolanibaj was like, oh, I lost every respect for you. You're not even up to my taste. You haven't traveled abroad. You can't match up to my standard. Yeah. Go. So yeah, that happened. So it seems like there's several fallouts. Now, Tolanibaj mentioned something that was really, really disturbing, and she said, when Vee was like, I felt hurt that you did what you did with my man. I understand you wanted to make Prince jealous, but why Neo? Tolanibaj said something about maybe she didn't consider Vee her friend in the first place. And like, so what was that, all that, even to the point where you went home? And then she even mentioned that she nominated Vee and that she wanted to beat Vee. She was like, I will beat you at the hotel. Because you know that pillow throwing scene? I didn't even tell you guys. That pillow throwing scene that we saw in the trailer, the teaser of the reunion, it happened today. So when they were going back and forth, Vee and Tolanibaj, Tolanibaj literally stood up and threw the pillow. And I was like, and that's why I say I applaud Vee, because Vee was calm. She was just like, you can do what you want to do, you can embarrass yourself on national TV. And then Vicky was saying, thank God this is on international TV. Oh. See how you're embarrassing yourself. I'm not even the one going up and down. You're the one that is making a fuss out of the whole situation. And at the same time, you're not saying anything. You're not articulating yourself. You're just cursing and cursing and cursing and shouting and throwing things. That doesn't make sense. That just tells on the kind of person, the kind of upbringing you have. I'm like, Alright, so we finished talking about that case. We kind of, I wouldn't say things went down. I didn't say they sorted anything out, because I don't think anybody is sorting anything else in this season, to be honest. The way everything has been flying, bass-bows. Ebuka asked Prince, do you take responsibility for anything? Prince said, yeah, maybe he should have picked somebody earlier. Ebuka asked Wathoni, do you take responsibility for anything? Wathoni said, no, that she did not take responsibility for anything. And then Prince also said that he didn't care for Wathoni, like he doesn't care about her, she's insignificant. That was what he said, or like, she's insignificant, I don't care about her. And like, I know that, yeah, this love thing did not happen, but has it gotten to this point of insignificance? Now, Wathoni stood up. The same thing Tolanibaj did, and she did a spin and said, look, first of all, Prince, I'm older than you, and I don't want to have anything to do with you. I'm typically attracted to older men. Secondly, you cannot afford me. I have a son. I have a bougie taste. I'm a snack. You cannot afford me. I say, ha! Prince, who did you offend? Everybody has been, if they don't call you broke here, they call you not man enough there, they call you cannot afford lifestyle here. It's just a whole lot. But anyway, let me go ahead and give the teasers, because that was basically where we ended things for this episode. Now in tomorrow's episode, we are going to be expecting a lot of drama, because Brighto was brought in, Wathoni and Dorathy, according to what we're shown. And Dorathy was like, she felt like Brighto was a vampire because he was too cold. And I understand that. Brighto would not show any emotions. Even when he looked as though he liked Wathoni, it was just that onion thing wasn't working. That onion shape was just whatever. And I felt like Wathoni was just latching on so that it's not look as if nobody was with her in the house and stuff like that. But Brighto was really void of emotions, at least the romantic ones we can say. So that happened, and then Wathoni made mention of something that was blooped out. I don't know, Wathoni has been dropping some things that I'm like, sis, I don't understand. When did all these happen? Because Biggie did not show us. Maybe they were trying to save us the trauma. But she shall mention something around how Brighto wasn't even up to her taste. And Brighto was like, I agree, I cannot afford your lifestyle. I cannot afford your son, I cannot buy your dress. And then she was like, yeah, you're not man enough. And even the time that I was in my bed, it didn't even last 5 seconds, and I stood up and went to the sitting room. I'm like, 5 seconds was, I'm hoping that we're talking about a conversation here. I really sincerely hope we're talking about a 5-second conversation, because are you thinking what I'm thinking? Look, let's continue this tomorrow, because they haven't even explored that conversation yet. So I will definitely be giving you the updates on that. Don't forget that this is brought to you by every NG, and thank you so much for sticking with us until tomorrow. My name is Judith, and I want you to stay safe. Bye.